Hello everyone, it is Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon, and today we are looking at Vespiquen Yanmega. It's a very interesting, cool archetype that I actually played recently at a league challenge, came third with it. So it's a good deck. I actually really undervalued Yanmega, just because I was kind of set in my ways, thinking how good the Prime was and that nothing could really be on par with it. But Yanmega is good in his own right, and the Prime is pretty. The Break, sorry, is pretty good as well. So we'll be jumping into the list. It is potentially one of these decks that is gonna become obliterated by Karren. But the question is, how many decks are going to need Karren, and how many are actually going to counter this deck? Because it's not like a huge, big contender in the metagame. It's probably just going to be a niche deck that pops up here and there, because it's interesting and kind of rogue, but I actually think it's pretty good. And also, thanks to evolutions coming out with Brock's Guts, some people are going to prefer that to Karren as well, for a number of reasons. So it may not even be the case that Karren becomes a big deal. And if that's the case, then this deck survives, which would be really cool, because this is a cool option. So let's jump into the deck and stop rambling. First of all, I think it's actually more so a Yanmega build. So we play 4 Yanma. This is the only one we have. We will literally never use these attacks, because you don't want to attach energy to Yanmega unless you need to do so to get your hand size down to 4, I guess. So these attacks really are not too relevant. I guess I may as well just read them. Scout. Your opponent reveals his or her hand. Speed dive. You're never going to commit to double colorless energies to do 40 damage with Yanma. Literally never. So yeah, don't worry about that. For those of you who don't know, Yanmega has the ability Sonic Vision. If you have exactly 4 cards in your hand, you can ignore all energy in the attack cost of each of this Pokemon's attacks. Very, very cool, and it's a big focus of this deck. So basically, the 3 colorless energy attack cost that you're seeing on Assault Boom, you can ignore that as long as you have your ability. So now we're doing 50 base for 0 energy, which is already pretty good. But on top of that, if your opponent has a tool attached, it does an additional 70 damage. Now, tools are quite big in the format right now. There's obviously Spirit Links on a lot of Mega Evolution focused decks. There's going to be Fighting Fury Belts on other EXs and basic Pokemon. There's going to be Float Stones for freedom of movement. These are the 3 big ones. There's also things like Bursting Balloon, which also come into play as well. So plenty of reasons why Assault Boom is going to be good, because especially against Megas, they have to put the Spirit Link on, basically. So a lot of the time we're getting good value and getting up to 120 damage for free, which is really, really strong. Yeah, just really good stuff. And especially because you could do this on the first turn, because we have Forest of Giant Plants. So if we go second, we can go Yanma, Forest, Yanmega, start prodding for either that 50 or that 120 damage. Very, very good stuff. What I really like as well is 50 into 120 is 170, of course, so that can deal with a handful of EX Pokemon, things like Yveltal EX and stuff like that, so that would be really awesome. Another huge deal is that this guy has free retreat, a real reason why I enjoy this deck. You can see in the strengths that it's flexible, and that's because our 2 main attackers, Yanmega and Vespiquen, both have free retreat. So we can move between these guys very nicely, and your opponent has to play around 2 different attackers every turn, which is really cool for you, because they never really know, do they deal with the thing in the active, do they Lysandre the bench, and then there's still the one that was already in the active position to respond. That's why I also call this playstyle like a swarm deck. I know it's like a grass bug deck, so it makes sense to call it swarm, but it really is a swarm deck, because you get so many Pokemon all potentially attacking into play. Even just putting a Yanma down as a threat, because that could go, Revitaliser into Yanmega BREAK, and we're attacking for free again, but threatening damage. So this really can swarm. That's one of the biggest strengths of the deck. You rarely ever run out of attacking options. Really, really cool stuff. So it all is focused around the Sonic Vision ability that makes the Yanmega so good. 110 HP is fine for a stage 1. And Lightning Weakness rather than Fire Weakness is actually pretty handy, so they sort of cover each other a little bit. You're not going to be completely wrecked by Lightning decks, you're not going to be completely wrecked by things like Volcanion, because we can try and be more proactive with the Yanmega line. especially against Volcanion, because they are obviously going to allow you abilities most of the time because they need them themselves. So pretty good stuff. We are then playing 2 of the break evolutions, so tilt your heads now. 110 HP is pretty handy. There's a few 2-hit KO merchants out there right now, things like Sizzle, which goes up to 120, as well as the basic Sizzle, which does 110. There's things like Mega, Gardevoir, which starts at a base of 110, but obviously can scale higher, but it forces discards each turn, which is not always easy for them. I know Dragonite EX will be coming out, which makes it easy, but for now at least it's not too easy for them to chain around 140, so these sorts of things are pretty cool. The barrier break attack, again, it's that 3 colorless costs, but because we're going to have this guy below us, we have that ability, so whenever that's online, we can do 100 damage, ignoring weakness, resistance, and any other effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. Very handy stuff. Just that base of 100 is a great number to hit. Again, when you're combining one Assault Boom for 120 plus the 100, that's enough for Megas. And obviously Megas need to Spirit Link at some point. So if you go turn 1 Barrier Break, and then turn 2 they Spirit Link Mega, you can Assault Boom for the 2-hit KO. So that's very, very cool. What I also like is 100 damage is not 110, clearly. So when we're up against Mega Mewtwo, we're much happier doing Barrier Break for 100 in the first case, because then they can't do things like Lysandre damage change KO a Shaymin. They can do it and maybe damage change a Vespiquen here and there. But because we have like a high stadium count and stuff like that, we can let them do it once or twice and then build up a big Vespiquen of our own. But in the meantime, we're playing around damage change, at least in the respect that they can't deal with Shaymin EXs with damage change. So that's something to bear in mind. Very good number, I think, overall. And of course, again, it's a grass type, so we can forest it up and go on the very first turn. I think 2 is probably the correct count, 2 or 3. Because we're playing 2 Revitaliser, I'm pretty comfortable with just the 2 count. So the backup attacker is going to be Vespiquen. First of all, we have the full Combee, and then the full Vespiquen itself. Like I was saying, free retreat is handy. That grass, 90 HP. Intelligence gathering is the first attack, which you can actually use quite a bit in this deck. Because we have an attacker that can attack for free, and we have special charge, you can be fairly liberal with your double colorless energies, I've found. So maybe we've had a dead hand, maybe we've been judged, or maybe we've had to use judge, and we've not got the hand we need. We can go for intelligence gathering to get back up to 6 and do an extra prod for 10, which is kind of okay. But obviously the main attack we're trying to focus on here is Be Revenge, doing 20 plus 10 more for each Pokemon in your discard pile. We play a total of 28, so we are going to manipulate this quite handily. Obviously late game this gets into big 1-hit KO range, but on the opening turns even, we can do things like Unown spam. Klefki as well is able to discard itself quite frequently, and just knocking out 1 Yanmega for 1 prize is 3 Pokemon straight into the discard. So that builds up pretty quick as we turn into the late game. This deck is very much more focused on Yanmega early, Vespiquen late, but it has the sort of motor ability in that it can have a big turn 1, and your Be Revenge can be going up to, you know, like the 100 damage is kind of like the ceiling, I would say, for a turn 1, but that's not bad at all. Again, Forest of Giant Plants means we can attack turn 1 and poke for 100, which is really nice. So yeah, it's pretty good pressure from the very first turn from both of our main attackers. Very good stuff. So the supporting cast, like I mentioned, we do have for Unown with that Farewell Letter ability. Once during a turn, if he's on the bench, you may discard this Pokemon and all cards attached to it. If you do, draw a card. Very, very good. Obviously, it's going to power up the Be Revenge. Also serves a nice role in here of getting ourselves down to this 4-card hand. We can basically put this down as an insta-play card onto the bench. So for later on, if we lower our hand size to 3, we can Unown at a later point and get up to 4 again. It's just going to help us manipulate. If we've been hit with an N, get N to 2 cards, then we top deck for turn, then we Unown to our 4th. We're ready to go again with Yanmega. So it's really nice manipulation for hand size as well as discard pile. It serves a lot of good roles. Additionally, it combos very nicely with Klefki. Klefki has the Wonderlock ability, and you can attach it. If it's on your bench, you can attach it to any of your other Pokemon, and just like Bursting Balloon, it will get discarded at the end of your opponent's turn. But for that one turn that it's attached, Mega Pokemon deal no damage to the Pokemon that has Klefki attached to it. So you can do this just attaching it to an Unown, and then you play Farewell Letter. You discard 2 Pokemon straight away. Alternatively, you can Klefki onto a Klefki, and then use that Klefki's ability to attach onto another Pokemon, which also discards a Klefki. So you can chain this. It was Wambolt who coined the brilliant phrase, which was called key chaining. Obviously makes sense. And that's something we can do to try and manipulate, again, early damage into the discard pile if we're against non-Mega decks. But when we are against Megas, of course, buying ourselves that turn of immunity with your non-EX attackers, it's going to be a real headache. So any Mega deck that isn't playing Gardevoir is going to be really, really favourable for us. So things like Rayquaza. I know that some Mewtwo's aren't playing it. There are like speedy builds out there. So yeah, Klefki is going to be really good value. And obviously, we can just Lysandre Garb, KO it with something like Vespiquen, because obviously our abilities would be down with Yanmega. Deal with Garb, and then the Klefki comes back online. Even if you get it for 1 or 2 turns, that is immense value for you. You can even end up just putting it on something like Shaymin on your bench so that your opponent has to go through all non-EXs. Just tremendous value all around against these Megas. And even when you're not against Megas, it still serves a really good purpose in here for fueling the discard pile early on. Following on just 2 Shaymin EX, I feel we want to get value out of these, obviously. In early turns, if you're being under Hex, you can just pay the DC to Sky Return and keep denying your opponent these sorts of things. Promote other Pokemon to increase your B Revenge. Things like this could be really handy to you. I can Sky Return quite a bit in this deck from playtesting. You get away with it quite often. So that's a pretty cool trick for you to go for, as well as, setup is the main function for Shaymin in this deck, of course. Onto the items now. We are playing the 1 Special Charge. This is a pretty clutch card. Although we can get a free attack off with Yanmega, we're not really getting one-shots like we used to with Vespiquen, because of course we've lost Battle Compressor, and we're not playing Acrobike in here. So the discard pile doesn't fuel up as quickly as it used to. So oftentimes we have to spend quite a few double colorless to take our 6 prizes. So Special Charge just helps us keep in the game, basically, which is pretty handy. We are playing 2 Revitaliser. It allows us to put 2 grass Pokemon from a discard pile into the hand. When you have Forest in play, it means that you can threaten attackers just out of nowhere, which is great, especially because we have free retreat on all of our dudes. We suffer a knockout, we promote anything because it's probably got free retreat. We can Revitaliser, get back Combee, Vespiquen, DCE, and out of nowhere, we've got an attacker that they couldn't have expected. Same thing for going into Yanmega, or if we've got a Yanma in play, we can go straight into the break and carry on attacking. That's why the playstyle is like a swarm deck, because we're never going to be out of attacking options with these 2 Revitaliser and the really thick Pokemon count that we're playing. Very, very cool options for us. We then just have the 2 Trainer's Mail. I like the consistency of 2. You can cut lower, I guess. I've seen a few builds playing 0 Mail. There's a few options that I can talk about later on for trying to fill those slots, but for now I've just gone for relative consistency. Then we just have the 4 Ultra Ball, going to get huge value as per usual, discarding Pokemon for Vespiquen, getting you into Shaymin, getting you into Unown and any other Pokemon that you need. The 4 VS Seeker is going to be handy for respamming your supporters. There's a few supporters that we need to manipulate our hand size down to 4 quite often, so that's going to be pretty important. We are playing the 1 Giovanni scheme. First of all, it can draw us up to 5 cards if need be, if we're in a pinch, but that extra 20 damage is really handy to us. It pushes Barrier Break into 120. So again, we can do that 100 into 120 against Megas if they've chosen not to Spirit Link, or somehow they've moved it with maybe like a Weavile or something random like that. It also just means that we can do that 120 against non-EXs, so that's way better against things like Rainbow Road, where you can deal with Xerneas a little bit better. Going to be very helpful for us. Additionally, trying to push the 1-hit KO with Vespiquen, sometimes that plus 20 can get you there, so Giovanni's really nice. Also against Shaymin spam, sometimes they can think that they're safe around Barrier Break, but they're really not, because we have Giovanni, so that's also cool. We do have the 2 Judge. This instantly gets us to 4 cards, which is pretty cool, so that we can get attacking. Obviously, it means we can't play any cards from our Judge. We're stuck with that until next turn. unless we have like unknowns in play, then we can play 1 or 2 cards and try and farewell letter ourselves back up. Or if we get something like Revitaliser, which is a +1 technically. So things like that could work in our favour, but Judge is normally just to lower our hand size for the Yanmega to work, as well as, you know, turn 1, if you can get a Judge on certain decks, it can be really nice, because we can set up quickly, play the Judge, and it doesn't affect us too much, because we have draw later on from like Unown and stuff, and the opponent could be messed up by that approach. We do have 2N, it's a couple more shuffle draw options to try and manipulate that hand size again, get us into a close range with the Yanmega, which could be nice, and it's of course some nice combat potential. We do have the 2 Lysandre. We of course enjoy dealing with EX Pokemon a lot better, so just Lysandering, having those options around are pretty important. We do have the 4 Sycamore as well, going to be, again, just a big consistency card, normal stuff there. And of course, a big component of the deck is going to be Forest of Giant Plants, allowing all of our grass Pokemon to evolve the turn that he or she plays those cards. Very handy. So yeah, Revitaliser into Pokemon, we can play them straight down, or just drawing into these naturally, because we have such thick lines, we're able to do that quite nicely. We can just play and go, basically. We have so many insta-play cards that just, even from hand sizes from Sycamore, you can be fairly confident you can get down to that 4-card size, 4-card hand size. So there we go. Pretty good stuff. And rounding off with 4 double Colorless, it's the only real energy we need for Vespi. Obviously Shaymin can use it, and you may have noticed that we're not playing any switching cards in this deck. It's kind of a ballsy decision from me to play no switching cards. I didn't play any switching cards at the LC, didn't get punished once. The only times you get punished is when maybe you've led with Unown or Klefki. Bear in mind we have 8 good leads, 10 if you count Sky Return as an acceptable turn 1 attack. So it doesn't happen too often, but if we do lead with Unown or Klefki, it means that we have to pay retreat that turn, so the only attacker we can use is Yanmega. So we only get punished if we're ability locked whilst leading with one of those awkward Pokemon. That's the only time you get punished. So if it's a heavy Gardevoir deck and they're trying to stall you and stuff, sure, it's going to be a pain, but because we can insta-play the Klefki, we can insta-play the Unown as soon as we put them to the bench, they're not going to be a liability from then on in the game. And because we have special charge, we don't mind spending DCE. And on turn 1, Vespiquen's not the right attacker anyway. If it is a punish, it's only going to punish you for like 50 to 100 damage with a Be Revenge. So it's not too big of a deal at all. I feel like not playing like just 1 escape rope or something. I know rope can be really nice at times, but I feel like you don't get punished enough to warrant the 1 slot over something like Trainer's Mail or second Revitaliser, stuff like that. So at the moment I'm stuck with a 4 DCE. It's our only retreating option for these guys as well. But like I say, we have good leads. 10, I guess, potential good leads. So yeah, it seems pretty fine to me. So let's look at the alternatives. Like I say, Escape Rope is something you can consider for sure. It's a good card. Pseudo Lysandre. Just going to be nice at times, and of course that 1 switching card is never going to punish you too much. There's also going to be Bursting Balloon, which is a cool option. Obviously in Jesper Eriksson's World's Winning List, he was heavy Bursting Balloon. I believe that was more of a meta call though, because we have the Klefki as well. Obviously it wasn't as pertinent in Worlds because Megas weren't as relevant. Now it's just the better way to rack up damage because we don't have Compressor and stuff like that, so it just feels safer to play them, and those sorts of take up the slots for Bursting Balloon in my opinion. Another card that we're not playing is Pokemon Ranger. Ranger would be really nice in here. There's a few things that can mess with us. Giratina is going to be one of them because we can't attach DC for Be Revenge. So if it's Giratina plus Garb right now, I'm really in trouble. We have no answer for Giratina plus Garb if they Chaos Wheel. So the answers we have are to get our DCs on board before that and deal with the Tina before it happens, or deal with the Gardevoir before it happens. So those are our options. At the weekend I didn't play anything with Tina and Garb. I know that there is Dark Tina Garb as an archetype, but there's very niche situations when you're going to need the Ranger. Additionally, there's a few other cards that could be a pain. Things like Promo Jirachi and Glaceon. Glaceon is obviously going to be horrendous, so I can see you making a space for Ranger. I'm just not seeing them in enough, there's not enough of them in form, like, not in format, but being played right now for me to warrant the Ranger slot. But it's something to consider, of course, because it's just sometimes just a better safe than sorry type card that you want to have in the list. And finally, there is Ariados as an option. The Poisonous Nest ability is going to be handy for getting that extra bit of damage here and there. Once during a turn, you may use this ability. Both active Pokemon are now poisoned. So again, it's like the Giovanni really, but not in a supporter. You can get to 110 on a Shaymin EX, so you can Lysandre and Barrier Break with the Ariados for poison for a knockout, which is nice. You only really need a 1-1 line because you have the Revitalisers and such. It also it adds up your Pokemon count as a total, so again, if you can cut the one Giovanni and maybe cut like down to one Trainer's Mail, you can do that to fit the Ariados. Right now it's a question of space for me why I'm not playing it, and we're already ability focused and it's an extra Pokemon that has a 1 retreat cost. Just a couple of annoying things why I'm not playing it right now, but it's definitely an option for you overall. So yeah, that is the list, and we're going to be jumping into some games now. Like I said, I've played a few games with this deck, and I do really like it. It's a fun playstyle more than anything else, so it's just refreshing to see. This format in general, I'm learning, is just a really fun format, and this is one of the most fun decks to play within the fun format, so we should have some good games here, and it does require quite a bit of thinking and concentration, because we're counting discard piles, we're counting hand size, we're counting a lot of different resources in this deck, so let's see what we can do here. We do lead with Yanma, which is one of our favourite leads, and because we're going first, we can hold the rest of our hand. Doesn't look like the best hand so far, but we do have supporters, of course, so not too big of an issue. One thing you want to find early on is going to be Forest, of course. Looks like we're up against a Gardevoir build, so this Klefki is going to get benched straight away, and I'm happy to end here. No real need to play the double Colorless energy, because of course Yanma's not a great target for it, so... What is that hand? What is that hand? Okay. Farewell letter into Forest, and we're pretty happy here. Otherwise, we're pretty sad. Okay, we're pretty sad. I mean, we can't attack anyway turn 1, so it doesn't affect us too much. And we're not like in danger of a KO, so it's not actually too big of an issue. But it just looks pretty ugly, doesn't it, when you see something like that? They choose to attach the Spirit Link as well, which plays into Yanmega, which is nice. They could have chosen to put it on one of the bench ones, hope to draw into another one, but hey, the opponent's giving us the option right now to go for the what's it called, Assault Boom next turn. We can, as long as we don't get Hex, we can definitely get the Assault Boom off no matter what we top deck, because we can insta-play 2 cards, right? So, but we can also insta-play the Combee as well if need be. So right now it has to be some sort of shuffle draw to deny it, or a Hex Maniac. Right now the opponent is going for the Ultra Ball. Most Gardevoir decks do play some Hooper as well as multiple Shaymin. Looks like they're content to just go for the Mega Gardevoir. Haven't seen any energy attachment yet. There it is. We're going to see a Hex is the real question. No Hex Maniac, so I'm very happy with this outcome. We're just going to double Yanmega. And that gets us down to 4 cards. I'm going to use Wonderlock on the active. And we're going to Assault Boom for 120. Puts a lot of pressure on. We do have, immunity of sorts, so we should be pretty good here. Oh, Link Blast is so sad when we play no energy. The opponent actually puts a Floatstone on Shaymin, which is really, really good for us, because now it's a Lysandre target for this guy. That's great. The opponent does go for a Mega Evolution, and then we see a Professor Sycamore getting rid of a second Mega Turbo, which is pretty grim. We then do see a Hooper. I'm going to see a Scoundrel Ring here. So we haven't been hexed, so we're guaranteed to get Yanmega going next turn because we can insta-play the break, of course. Setting up a nice 2-hit KO on this Gardevoir. And because it's so mega focused and the non-EX isn't very efficient at dealing with Yanmegas, we're likely in really good shape here. So pretty good stuff, even with a potentially dead hand. Yanmega doesn't need much as long as we're not being disrupted. Pretty good stuff here. We see an attachment to the bench. The opponent's not even going to attempt it. And we just see a Mega for turn as the Klefki gets discarded. We do draw. We have Unown. Do I want to play this down instead of the break? I think I do. Play around N a bit more, I guess. Because the HP isn't too relevant here, because he wants to discard these cards anyway. Alternative is to play this Unown, see what I draw from it. We could happily do that as well. Looks like we get a Vespiquen. So far, just 3 Pokemon in the discard pile. I think I'm more content to put the break in play. Gonna do it on the bench here, I think. Because Assault Boom's clearly getting value here, but because the other Mega hasn't got a tool, we want to keep the break around. If he Lysandres though, that could be awkward. So maybe I just put the Vespi in and hold the break for now, so I'm not punished by Lysandre. Yeah, that seems fine. So we'll just take the first 2 prizes here. No Klefki follow-up, but we've taken a big old prize lead, which is nice, and looking pretty good here. Still no draw cards from this whole hand, unbelievably. We can still get our hand size down to 4. Insta-play, insta-play, insta-play. And then whatever we top deck, we can hold. So not too concerned. Again, just a case of are we being hexed or not. The opponent is likely to take a prize and 2 Pokemon go into the discard pile. So 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'd be hitting for 70, which isn't ideal. But that's a minimum right now. We could top deck something like Sycamore and then be in great shape. The opponent has Trainer's Mail. Does get a fail on that. See a second attachment to the Mega Gardevoir. We see a repeat ball, which you don't often see too often. Don't often see often. That was a really bad sentence. You don't see very often. That's all I should have said. There's a Shaymin for 3 more cards. Obviously, because of Despair Ray, the Gardevoir decks often play sometimes even 2 Hooper and like 3 to 4 Shaymin EX. Because simply they can, and they don't have any ramifications because Despair Ray discards them. So they're no longer liabilities. And we do get hit with an N, which could potentially be nice. Depends on what we get here. Well then, okay. This isn't actually too bad here. We still have not been, obviously not hexed because we got End. We can top deck and insta-play for Yanmega Break for 100 damage. And I think that might be what I go for. The Hooper does get discarded. And that's the only card. Okay, so he's trying to play around the break, right? He wants to keep his options around. So, we do have Ultra Ball, so we could start going for Shaymin EX, but I don't really see a reason to. I'm quite content here to just play the break and go for it. Go for 100. It's a good number. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5. So it goes 6, 7, 8. Then we're doing 9, 10. Then we can Ultra Ball away our Vespi for the response KO. So it looks like it's good maths here right now. So let's just go for the barrier break for 100 and see what the opponent can do now. And this is where the flexibility comes in. We've not drawn too well so far, but he can Lysandre the Vespiquen, but then this hasn't been hexed and we can potentially get back down to 4, or he deals with the Yanmega Break and the Vespi can come in and respond. So we seem to be in good shape here. We see an attachment to the benched Mega Gardevoir. And we see the Lysandre does get played here. So we're going to have to dig for something like Giovanni next turn if we want to get the one-hit KO. Alternatively, we could hit like a big Revitaliser combo and get back into the Vespiquen, so we'll have to see here. The opponent does take his second prize to equal it up, and looks like we're going to start playing some cards. I'm going to start off with this Ultra Ball, get rid of 2 grass types, and we can grab ourselves a Shaymin EX. Alternatively, I could grab Unown, play Unown for a card and then guarantee the discards, but I'm not too big of a fan of that. I'm just going to grab Shaymin. We have the other one in deck, so I'm content to put the Forest in, keep the Ultra Ball for potentially a second Shaymin if I need it. So we will dig. Trying to hit the Giovanni would be very nice. Looks like we do hit a Judge, which isn't bad either. I can 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can discard the Yanma for 10. I could discard Judge and Yanma here. I could discard Special Charge as well. We've already taken a couple of prizes. It's likely we're going to take more. We're not going to need Special Charge this game. Second Shaymin is very tempting. I think I am going to grab second Shaymin here. Alternative is Unown. I might just take Unown instead. If I'm taking Unown, it should probably be... Okay, we are just going to grab Shaymin. I am considering this, but I'm just thinking Judge isn't strong enough right now. We're still happy to keep Vespi over Yanma, even though it's one less card, because it's what I kind of want to get into. Looks like we miss all of that, but we do hit Giovanni. So now I can attach DC to Shaymin and Giovanni for damage. That sets up the DCE to retreat Shaymin next turn to try and get another attacker going. The only issue being that we have no real backup if we get hit with an N. I could still dig and try and find Klefkis. But then I don't attach, right? Yeah, I think I need to take the KO. So we'll just... Giovanni for the good old damage, and we'll barrier break. Down to 2 prizes, praying that we don't get end really more than anything. But there's the Combee that we were looking for. And a Trainer's Mail, which isn't a bad card to put back in the deck if we are being end. It's been a really weird game. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because normally you run your deck a lot thinner with this deck. We just haven't so far. There is the Skyfield, which is step 1 of the opponent's plan. N is clearly going to be a second stage of the plan. Only seen 1 played, no VS Seeker, so it's likely with that hand size that he's got one. We are going to see a Sun Cyclone as well, so I'll promote the Shaymin EX. That's actually probably really good for me, because it protects this guy, and that was really the threat. I'm surprised that they played the Hawlucha down there, to be honest. Unless he's hexing. I don't mind a hex as much though, because we can go for Vespi. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13. Yeah, I can go Combee, Vespi, top deck DCE casually, and deal with the Shaymin. But yeah, he's going to Despair Ray all of his Shaymins this turn for sure. Kind of has to. Has the opponent got energy here? Let's see VS Seeker for that N. So there's a chance he misses energy here. And let's see what we get. Pray to the gods. Ugh. Well, Klefki's not bad actually. There isn't energy. And we are getting Despair Raid. For 130, he's kept a Shaymin. That is bizarre. Very surprised by that. Very surprised. So let's see if we can get out of this mess. If not, okay, DC is not great. So we're just going to Wonderlock. I think I will attach this DC as well, because we're going to have another one in hand from the Sky Return here. So the opponent sort of has to end us again here. Klefki coming in very clutch. Still have 2 more in the deck. Still have all of our Sycamore, all of our VS Seeker, 2 Judge, another N, Unknowns, a lot of good draws here. The opponent obviously still has to N us in the first place, or Hex, because he knows we have Shaymin. Hex is probably way better for him, because it shuts off the Yanmega BREAK as well. The opponent is going to Despair Ray, probably just to get rid of the Shaymin more than anything else. Yeah, that is indeed what he goes for. And it is our turn, so another DCE. Do I attach just to get some damage in? I think I might do that, you know. It's damage and it's a card, right? When you see 2 DC on a Yanmega, you know you're doing this deck right. Okay, we have some cards here. And by some cards, I mean not many cards. Am I prepared to Sycamore this? We've lost our special charge, and now we've committed a lot of DCEs. We're kind of banking on like our last Yanmega now. But I think we can, again, dig for Klefki, I think is the dream here. And just get more cards out of our deck. Our deck is too large right now. I'm not comfortable with it. We hit Forest, which is lovely. We're going to Revitaliser. Give ourselves some attackers. So we kind of just have to pray that the opponent doesn't have Lysandre, right? Alternatives there was maybe I should have end. I don't know, it felt kind of risky to end. Maybe the Judge. Was Judge even in there? No, it wasn't in there. Yeah, end was too risky for me. I just have to pray the opponent doesn't have the dream. But he could well do. 3 VS Seekers remaining and probably his last Lysandre, so that was a really weird game. We ran super far ahead, but we just didn't run through the deck enough. Gonna see an Ultra Ball, so he's either slow rolling us or he doesn't have it. Gonna see a Shaymin. Okay, so he has to dig. Gonna see a Spirit Link. He does play 4 Shaymin, 2 Hooper. Good man. Gonna see a Repeat Ball just to... Oh, he does go for a Guardian. Oh yeah, it's still a... It's 1 extra card out of his deck, which he can insta-play, so that makes sense. 5 cards to hit 1 of his VS Seekers. He's got very good odds here. And there it is. Bit of a shame there. I feel maybe it was safer just to Sky Return that turn, huh? Rather than push damage. Well, that's a learning experience. That was kind of... I played really risky there. That last turn I played risky. I played like greedy with my damage. Taking him up to 60 wasn't that useful though. Okay. I should have played differently that last turn. I feel like that game was really in our control until that last turn, or I made an error. I think it was the second DC top deck that was just triggering. Anyway. Okay. I feel bad that I didn't do that deck justice. It felt like an easy matchup for us. And again, we have a super awkward hand. What is this? What is this deck that I'm showing you guys? Always seems to be the way. Not playing the Klefki here, even though we're going second to try and bluff. Maybe make him N a little bit more. If you have 6 cards compared to 5, you might be a tiny bit more. Oh dear, Volcanion. Okay. Volcanion is not a matchup where you want a slow start because they can do a lot of early damage on us. And Klefki doesn't give us any help. So, this could be in before second loss. They are playing Hooper. So, he's going to get the army of Volcanion out. And potentially a Shaymin as well. Yes, indeed. That's what we see. 2 Volcanion and 1 Shaymin EX. Going on to the bench. We do see Max Elixir. Does get a fail. I'm very surprised to see Max Elixir in that deck. I know it is a split opinion whether or not to play Elixir in there. I'm personally not a fan. We do see a Fury Belt. So this actually plays into the Yanmega. Like, he hasn't really saved himself any HP by doing that. As long as we go Yanmega, you know. Ideally we get a top deck that saves us. Or we get N still. There's still the hope. Still the dream. Just a pass. Well, that's pretty good. We're alive. Here comes Vespiquen. Here comes DC, at least for an intelligence gathering. We'll play N here to give ourselves some life. And we have Yanma. Can't manipulate our hand down to 4 cards unless we do some shenanigans here with Shaymin. I think that's what I want to do. Thinking about getting rid of the Revitaliser instead of the Judge there, but decided against. And we're going to draw some cards. Get another Klefki, get a Yanma. I think we are going to go balls deep here and go for another Shaymin for 3. Getting Yanmega would be pretty clutch here. We've done it, boys. We can Klefki chain a couple of times. And we're in business. Which is very cool. Because now we get some meaningful damage in. And the opponent needs quite a few steam ups here. Because we are, of course, lightning weak with the Yanmega. Surprisingly, we see a Floatstone onto a Volcanion. The baby Volcanion, oh wow, tools galore, playing into Yanmega for us, which is lovely. Appreciate that. But what else has the opponent got? 3 tools in their hand, not bad. In before Rattata, I guess. What's really cool is we can Revitaliser, get Yanmega straight back, even if he does get the knockout. But he's filled up his bench. He needs to get a replacement stadium if he wants to get the 1-hit KO on us. And, you know, another steam up to boot. So there is 1 steam up. That puts 2 in the discard pile at the very least. But no knockout, just a power heater for 60. And this energy is going to go onto the other baby and one of the EXs. We see both Klefki go to the ditch for 3 Pokemon in the discard pile now as well. Clearly not going to be playing N here. To keep our hand at 4, we have the alternatives of Judge or play Lysandre. And with a 2-card hand, we really didn't do much. I want to Lysandre here. And I think I want to Lysandre Hooper because he's got rid of 2 Floatstone. I think these are like free prizes all day for us. Yep. Even if it's just 50 damage, I think with 2 float gone and a 2-card hand, that's pretty awkward for him. And if he gets a Floatstone, then it's back into... Oh, wow, we see Vespiquen. Not bad, not bad. See Skyfield. Another Hooper. Volcanion. Always get those two mixed up for some reason. I have no idea why. There's an attachment to one of the Volcanion EXs on the bench. And a pass. So there's Unown, and I think we're just poking for 50 again. Alternative is to dig for DC to try and pick up some of these Shaymins at this point. Fairly happy to end this hand because it's not the best. And the opponent had Sycamore and stuff, so... It looks like we missed that, but fortunately we are able to get our hand back down to 4. Thanks to the help of Skyfield. I think this way we can get rid of a Shaymin, which is nice at least, so we can do what we intended, just in a different outcome basically. The opponent has to discard a Pokemon first. Probably going to be a Shaymin EX. We'll both do the same thing. And again, I will poke for 50. So now the Hooper's in range of a Barrier Break as well. If he has another means of switch card. Even Olympia, we're still in range. So setting up that Hooper quite nicely. See an attachment to the bench. The best thing is we've been denying Power Heater, which is like the core of his deck. Even if he's getting manual attachments, it's not the same as Power Heater, obviously. Am I judging here? I think I am. Alternative is just a Giovanni for the damage for the knockout. Yeah, that's probably better. Assault Boom! The 3-hit KO. The dream. But yeah, our board state is pretty strong. So I'm pretty happy with this. Only 4 in the discard pile so far. But hey. The other Volcanion comes into the active. Gonna see 1 steam up. That's all the opponent needs. We see a second one just to increase their Power Heater, it looks like. See a Vespiquen for a Lysandre. This is going to deal with a Vespiquen, it looks like. More threatened by that, it seems. And we see attachments to both the big old EXs. We can quite happily promote Yanmega with a nice free retreat. And Pokemon in the discard 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This isn't looking too good. Okay, we'll Trainer's Mouth first. Grab ourselves Lysandre. Do I take this? I can insta-play, and just attack. Insta-play. Take the Lysandre, use it and attack. Then I'm really in a Lysandre chain game. I think it's okay though. So we'll Assault Boom. The idea is to take only EX prizes in this game, and maybe later on, with enough Pokemon in our discard pile, we can one-hit KO one of them with the Vespi. Thanks to them having float stones on, it means they're not Fury Belts, so it should be easier for us. Just going to see a big old Volcanic Heat for the knockout. So he's actually giving us an EX, which is great. Really good news. As long as we can get into DC or a Yanmega. And I think before anything else... Man, Sycamore is too grim to even think about. We might just Judge here. Judge before the Unown. And we hit DCE at the very least. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. We'll Trainer's Mail. We do hit Sycamore. Because we don't have Sycamore in the discard pile, I think it's actually better just to take the Sycamore straight up here. We'll play down Klefki because it's a dead card. We can attach it straight to Unown. Decide if I want to use Unown here. Nothing else I need. Even if I top set Yanmega, I won't have the hand size. I may just keep this around to play around N because we're going down to 2. So that's what we're going to go for. Just the big old B Revenge. Down to 2 prizes. The opponent still has 4 to take. Only 1 EX on our side of the board, so it's going to be awkward for him. We do pick up a Vespi, which is nice to pick up, and the VS Seeker. So, a couple of good cards for us. We should be in good stead here. The opponent does hit an Elixir. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He didn't have great odds for that. And we're going to see a Shaymin from the opponent, which could be, again, more easy options for us. We'll be getting 10 in the discard pile, I think. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 10 in the discard as he responds this turn. He's most likely going to try and respond with this guy because of weakness and steam ups and such. There is a nice Fisherman. So we've not been end, which is a really big deal for us. It means we can dig pretty hard here. 11, 12. Okay, we'll promote Combee because we have the Vespi in hand. There goes Klefki. So we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. We can dig. Don't hit DCE. But we can special charge before the Unown to increase our odds. Also need a few more damage. Alternatively, we can get Revitaliser here and just go with Yanmega because it's still looking good for that. I just got to think if I can get I can insta-play you, can Revitaliser back Combee and Yanmega, so I insta-play you, and yeah, I can definitely do it. DCE? Ah, never lucky. Okay. So I play you. Play you. I actually play you. And we go 5. I think we're doing this. And getting the big old Assault Boom off, thanks to that lovely Float Stone. The opponent's still way behind in the prize race. Again in the spot where he kind of has to end. But look at this swarm approach. This is why I really say it's a swarm, because we have so many attackers waiting in the wings, literally in the wings. The opponent retreats and goes for a big old Steam Up. Does he have the N to boot is the question. Steam Up then puts him in the 1-hit KO range, of course. And no N again. So we can dig pretty hard for DCE here, quite happily. See 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Well, we'll increase our odds a little bit more. Why not? We have quite a few good draws here. Yeah, there's 2 DCE. Casual. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 19, 2, 10. Casual. Very nice. Dealing with the Volcanion. He just wasn't able to N us, I guess. That's really the big difference. So, let's jump into another game. We were saved by that one top deck. That N right at the beginning. Because otherwise we were looking pretty grim there. So that's 1 win, 1 loss so far. And I really feel like had I played better, that first game should have been mine, really. We were very far ahead. Let it slip. I guess that is what N is for, but at the same time I feel I didn't... I played into... I could have played into better win conditions there by Sky returning mainly on that crucial turn. But that's why we play test. And talk these things through. And again, not the best of hands, but we have a couple of top decks here. Question is, what do you promote? And I feel like Yanma is almost always the answer if you have both of these. It does, of course, depend on if you have the higher stage of either of them. We are going second here, so I'm actually going to play a couple of these cards down. Go to the 2-card hand? No, that's too much. I'm going to hold Klefki just because there's, like, if I have a 2-card hand, there's no way he ends. If I have a 3-card hand, it's likely he doesn't end, but there's still a chance. You know. We're going to see a turn 1 Lysandre. So that's not a great hand, is it? From the opponent. Shaymin's for 3. And it's over to us. We do get DCE to retreat at least. Let's see what we top deck here. Another DCE. Alright then. I'm happy to go into Yanmega because we have the Klefki anyway. Can't really play it because we don't have enough cards in hand. Like, I could have evolved and got the attack off for 50. Don't feel like it's relevant because I'd rather just protect it. And promoting the Yanma here means that he can't just attach again and shatter shot. So we'll see. So many weird hands. We play a lot more draw supporters than in most decks. We're playing 2 Judge, 2 N, 1 Giovanni, plus the 4 Sycamore. So 9 draw cards, supporters, 4 Ultra Ball, 2 Shaymin, 2 Male. I feel like we have a lot of decent top decks here. But at the same time, we're playing a total of 28 Pokemon. So, got plenty not so great top decks as well. The opponent just goes off and uses an Ultra Ball for a Hooper. And they're going to grab a Mewtwo and a Shaymin. And what else are we going to be seeing? Interesting that he plays at least one photon wave instead of all damage changes. Because usually it's pure damage change. And Johnny B is taking his time deciding what he wants to do here. And just passes. He could have attacked. Definitely could have attacked. Okay. Well, I guess we're just going to... I could even evolve, get intelligence gathering going. Already lost one DC, but we have the special charge, and it's for times like this, right? The only thing is he can Psychic Energy and even go for Shatter Shot next turn. But we just need a hand, I feel. And pressuring for 50 is not great. Especially because he could damage change, KO the Combee if he Lysandres. So we're going to try and bail ourselves out with Intelligence Gathering. And that's still not too pretty of a hand. So we shall see what this brings. Potential stall options. The opponent may forego the Mega for as long as possible because they can still damage change on this guy, of course. Shatter Shot does a lot to pressure these little dudes, so it's going to be interesting to see how he plays the matchup. I think late on when he needs like Mega Turbo to keep up on attachments, he might have to go Mega, but he's seen one Klefki, so he's going to be wary, of course. Depends as well if he plays Garb or not. That might be why we didn't see him bench the extra Mewtwo and Shaymin, because he wants to keep the slot open. Again, we see a pass and no Shatter Shot. That's really interesting to me. I want to keep forests around, but I can't manipulate my hand to 4 otherwise. Unless I Ultra Ball and don't take a target. And prod for 50. I mean, Ultra Ball and take a target but not play it, that's what I mean. Alternatives is to just go crazy, find Shaymin and stuff. I think that's fine as well. Let's actually start setting up, shall we? We've been very hesitant to do that. But if he's not going Mega, we may as well, you know. So we can get our hand size back to 4, which is pretty tasty. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. Prodding for 50 seems a little bit... It's pretty safe right now. The best damage change target he has is Combee, unless he wants to go unknown, but I don't really see why he would. And it sets up not much, unless we find Giovanni. But it's more denying him right now. Really surprised. So he's clearly not Shatter Shotting because he wants to make damage change work for him, right? So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I will be Sycamoring this hand. Alternative is just to VS Eco Lysandre. Start prodding this Mewtwo as well. Let's see how he reacts to that. It may force like a float stone on it or something. He could also obviously be dead drawing, because either he's holding one Psychic Energy in hand for his damage change, or he just doesn't have it in hand. It's a bit of a bluff game though, because his hand size is kind of too big. Don't want to play into it, too scary. And he passes again. Can't. I don't want to VS Eco Lysandre something else. That's just crazy now. Draw one to try and go down two, or just Sycamore? We'll just Sycamore. Two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. We'll find ourselves a break here. I'm happy to barrier break this guy because obviously he doesn't have the energy he needs, so we'll put the pressure on where we can. Sets up Sky Return as well, which would be nice. Goes back into this guy. Sky Return's probably my best play, but then it plays into him Lysandring Vespiquen. Question is, have the opponent really got nothing? Or are they just bluffing on us? So the thing about Mewtwo, there are mind games at play here. But it just scoops? Okay, cool. I don't know if it was more mind games that he scooped or what. The ultimate mind game. Oh, he actually won. Damn it. Okay, let's get one more in. Let's try and draw a normal hand, please. That would be great. Just starting a Sycamore. Since when has that happened? Oh, would have been such a nice hand. Damn, son. A basic in there would have been nice. Bye, supporters. I'll never see you again. Oh. Started Sycamore. Can't even complain about the unknown start. And we see the opponent start Shaymin. That's good for us. Glaceon. Oh no. This is when we get found out for not playing bloody Ranger. We're just going to play it cool. Just playing it casual. Just, yeah. We got the answers. We got the Ranger in deck. We don't even... Yeah, it's fine. Oh dear. It's Ninja Box. Okay. Who even cares about Glaceon, man? So bad in a format where everyone plays Ranger. Just play it cool, lads. That's how you beat Glaceon. More mind games. Okay, let's see if they can get the dream going. There's a forest. It's actually super annoying when decks also play forest, because then your forest is not an insta play, so it's kind of more awkward to get your Yanmega working. And he's not going to be playing tools either, other than Float Zone on this guy. And maybe this guy in the active. So Yanmega's pretty bad. Obviously everything... Oh, we get end. Okay. We shall see what we can come up with. Oh, don't get item locked. We're definitely going to get item locked. He's played 2 Shaymins and his hand is looking nice. This is going to be pretty grim. No Valplume. Huzzah. Ultra Ball, Ultra Ball. Just going to play one Ultra Ball here. For the first Shaymin, our only Shaymin. Yikes. So we got to go pretty crazy. Obviously, of course, against Glaceon we can just Sky Return bounce. That's the idea, at least. So I'm not too scared. Yeah, it forces like a Ninja Boy into Jolteon, then he kills the Shaymin, then we can kill his Jolteon. That's the idea. So, it's fine. All the wrong pieces. It's actually fine because we want to power up Vespi in this matchup quite a lot. I just want to draw cards. So as nice as the judge is, the opponent sort of ran out of stuff to do. I know they have N anyway, so that's probably what they're going to go for next turn. We hit Revitaliser, which could be nice. Does a new update not look at your discard pile? That's so annoying. Bad update, bad. Alright, let's draw a card. Well, let's play some cards. Protect our mighty Unown. Didn't hit DC to retreat, so it's fine in the active for now. Is it worth playing Revitaliser for 2 Yanmega here? It's probably worth VS seeking a Sycamore because he's got the N in hand. Getting 2 Yanmega back, is that better than 1 dead card? This is always dead. The Yanmegas aren't always dead, but they'll probably serve me better in the discard pile. So we'll pass. There is the DC to Glaceon. There's Olympia. Very nice. And a Crystal Ray for the knockout. We can't really do Lysandre Stally plays just yet because he's obviously not got item lock yet. But getting rid of so many supporters here is grim. Ah! Can I justify it? Oh, I can't really justify this. Can I? Probably gonna regret that. DC at least. Oh, the worst part is we only have 1 Shaymin in deck, so I can't even bounce very effectively. That is by far the worst part of this. It's like bounce, take some damage, bounce, take some damage, bounce, take some damage. It's going to be pretty painful here. Let's take Giovanni. I think it's genuinely our best card here. Boom! How you like that? Big old damage. Punk. The one game you don't want to Shaymin prized. It's this one. It's definitely this one. Alright, we're going to see Ultra Ball. So we're probably going to see the Volcanion into N. Gets rid of a Magearna. There's nothing he needs to Magearna in this matchup, that's for sure. The opponent does find that Plume, and we're going to get hit with N more than likely here. Indeed. But we get Shaymin DCE. So that's good. They've lost an Olympia. We've got Lysandre. This is also very good. DC to Jolteon. Of course, he is likely playing Ninja Boy, so that doesn't mean everything. Draw into another DCE. Okay. Let's Lysandre Vileplume. Deciding which is better to bench here. I think it is the Yanma, even though we've only got one more in deck. And I think I Shaymin for nothing here to get some damage in with Yanmega. Alternative is to Shaymin for 2, use the Sky Return this turn, promote the break, hope to use the break next turn, but under item lock we can't get rid of as many cards as we would like. So I'm actually gonna say no to this tempting offer and barrier break for 100 and see how he likes it. As much as I'd have liked to Lysandre or Shaymin there for prize race and stuff, it's too easy for him to Sky Return it away. And the Jolteon, of course, is free retreat, so that's not too handy either. Just going to see the Lysandre. We can get a nice little retreat in here. And I think it might be better to feed this Yanmega than this one, because he can Flash Ray this one. Let's feed him this one, I think. Alternative was to feed the Shaymin, but again we fall prey to an N a little bit at that point. Let's see how we navigate this. We want to pluck our other Shaymin EX out for sure. Never lucky. The opponent has items once again. Let's see what they can do with them. Up comes the Jolteon with nice free retreat. Don't really want to see Lysandre on Shaymin. That would be kind of grim. He has already played one Lysandre. Going to see an Ultra Ball. Gets rid of 2 Ninja Boy. Who needs him? Grab himself an Oddish, so he's content to try and get another one up. There's Gloom. No way. In comes Glaceon, and just a Crystal Ray. So we have items, but no, but we don't have any. So that's a bit of a shame. Gonna try and get rid of some of these unplayables. That's a good card to evolve into. It's a good card to get rid of. And the Vespiquen is actually our tankiest poke here because Jolteon can one-hit KO the Yanmega. So we shall go into Vespiquen. the tank. This this Glaceon isn't going anywhere quick, but he's got rid of a few Ninja Boy, so there's always hope. In comes Volcanion once again, DC onto Shaymin, and there is the Crystal Ray. Yanma's not too helpful. Gonna bench so I can try and draw a card here, or an extra card. The Vespi is actually very nice because it gives us an extra turn of life, or no prizes for the opponent at least. So we're gonna poke. We're going to see Rainbow onto Glaceon. What am I saying? Jolteon. And there is that poke for 70. We do have an N, which I think I need to keep for preventing deck out. So we're going to Sky Return. And I think it's still safest to feed him the prize here. Although it's so risky for him to go Jolteon. Yeah, I think Yanmega Break's fine in this spot. This has got enough damage on to where we can respond on things. He goes here. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah. This is kind of a crucial turn. We see the Olympia, so he is happy to Jolteon here. Does go for that Flash Ray, the aggressive Flash Ray. We need one more Pokemon to be able to deal with this Jolteon. Because we got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 with the Unown. Let's see if we can make it happen. Yes! Whew! Farewell, Jolteon. That's what I say. Have to put down Shaymin to play around N a little bit, I think. The opponent has played 2 though, so they're not likely playing anymore. Let's just make sure. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, 15 with the Rainbow gets us there. So 2 more chances to pluck second Shaymin out. No, still not lucky. That's a shame. Judge is a good card for keeping us alive in terms of deck count though. The only thing is we're running out of turns of this Crystal Ray is getting pretty good. Be interesting to see if he has a third Glaceon in his deck. I doubt he does. So missing a very important piece, which is a free retreater. Questioning how many cards I can play out though, really. I think I'm going to play the N over the Judge. It's 1 less card, but it's 2 less for the opponent. You know what? Judge is fine. Judge is fine. Yes. Really good stuff. Couple of very important pieces here. And this is still threatening Jolteon, right? We'll still promote Yanmega, I feel. This Glaceon is slowly getting poked down. Who needs Ranger? When you can just bounce. Two more prods. Never got to do the dream of Giovanni. There's a fourth Olympia. That makes me very sad. Is that 4? Yep, 4 Olympia. Just rude. The best thing is only 30 damage from this Shaymin. Goes into their own Shaymin. So feeding me 2 prizes in order to try and get rid of all my energy, right? I was kind of hoping to dig into N there, because then we can go for the barrier break and play the N and hope he can't get DCE, and then we're in such good shape. Because we got the HP buff, we're back to 110, so we can allow one more turn to try and top deck that N. We have 2 in deck. Because honestly, I haven't checked my deck, and I don't know if my last DC is in there. And if it's prize and I don't get it, then I'm pretty sad. Benching Yanma could be a problem here. I think I actually have to Sky Return into this guy. Or I attach DCE here. And then just poke for 100. Yeah, that's the idea. Obviously in tournaments, always check your deck, guys. But when I'm here, I'm lazy. And I just want to have fast pace of play, because that's more entertaining. But it does mean that points like this where I just scratch my head. I know perfect practice makes perfect, so maybe I'm just being a scrub. Let me know in the comments if you mind me deck checking. It could actually be interesting for you for deck checking, because it is like tournament knowledge, I guess. So we see a DC to the Shaymin, of course. We knew he had it. So is the opponent going to start bouncing of his own? That's the question. That is the big old question. Also have to be fairly concerned about the possibility of Bunnelby. A lot of Vileplume variants do play it. We don't want to fall into that trap. We just see a retreat. That is interesting. Very. So we're going to get hit with Crystal Ray. We're going to retreat. And Sky Return. See a Lysandre. Oh man, how many Lysandre does he play? 2 gone. Does he really play 3? Ugh. I really hope not. We can always get back into an N here. Giovanni. Yes, Giovanni. Oh, I love you right now. The dream. Who needs Ranger when you got Giovanni? That's what I say. There's Shaymin. You would have made my life so much easier, Shaymin. Goodness sake. Right, let's see what the opponent can come up with. Bringing up the 10 HP Shaymin EX because it's, of course, the logical choice when he can Sky Return. We have 3, 4, 8, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Plenty of damage with all these Vespi as long as he doesn't have 3rd Lysandre DCE. I think we're safe. And 3 Lysandre seems pretty high. Sycamore means we're alive. And being alive is kind of cool. I told you at the start of the game, guys, just play it cool, yeah? That's all you need to do. There we go. Kept calm. Prized our Shaymin. Didn't even matter. We did what we needed, and we'll never know if I had 4th DC in deck. Maybe look back at the footage and find out if I was just being a fool. But there we go, guys. A couple of interesting games there. I really feel like I should have won the first one. I'm going to beat myself up and watch that back and see how scrubby I am. But let me know how scrubby I am in the comments. I love hearing it and show me that obvious win condition that was staring me in the face. Yeah, a couple of other good games where we, started thinking a bit more and trying to play a bit better. And it paid off. So let me know what you guys think about this deck. Would it survive even with Karren, the threat of Karren being around? Can it still survive? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Please like this video if you did, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. For now though, it has been Joe from OmniPoke, and I'll see you guys next time.